Hey guys, how's it going? And thanks for coming. I'm Nick and this is Real Life Money, where we talk about real life and money, because you know schools aren't. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos. So let's get started. So in this video, guys, we're going over, this is actually a recommended video by one of my viewers. So shout out to Fat Links. He was asking if I could do like a stock market investing related careers and kind of go through some of the jobs out there that could be related to this. So I will have a bunch of links in the description for a couple websites that I use to actually explore different careers. And this could be not only for like business and investing, but this could be any industry. So if you're in like psychology, criminal justice, or anything, you could really try to find out what jobs are out there, because I think that's the hardest part, is actually finding what to even look for. So the first few are just like kind of business oriented and kind of like entry level, just to get your foot in the door, and I think that's great. And I'll throw in a couple extra ones at the end, which are more investing and even stock market related for you guys. Now, one more thing before we get started. If you are interested in any other industry that I could talk about, like the top jobs or careers in that industry, I think it would be very interesting. I know it's difficult to find some jobs out there these days. You might have a degree and you're not using it or anything like that. So I'd love to try and help you guys just go down the right path. So without further ado, the first entry-level business investing type of career you could get into is financial analyst. So what they do is normally research market conditions, could be business or company fundamentals, and this could be related to any type of investments, but can also focus on stocks and bonds. So their salary could range a little bit from $50,000 to $60,000 per year, depending on the business, of course. Like the company, and could range all the way up to like $80,000 to $90,000. Now, the job outlook is actually looking very good for the future, so this is something that you could definitely look into. The entry-level education required is a bachelor's degree, so it's definitely essential if you want to be in the business sector or investing field. You definitely need that degree behind you. Now, since that could be related to like basically any investment out there, something more like stock market related would be investment banking and analyst. So their median salary is a bit higher. You can see that's just over $90,000. You might have to work your way up to that. However, similar ideas. This could be with the big firms like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, like any of those big guys. Could be venture capitalist firms or any large investment bank out there. So outlook is good, and just realize that the minimum education is bachelor's, and some might even look for master's. However, understand that if you're actually going to be selling investment products, you have to be licensed. There's a bunch of series that you have to go through if you want to be like a CFA, which would be a Chartered Financial Analyst. That actually requires a minimum of a bachelor's degree. I believe it was 4 years experience, and you have to take a bunch of tests and pass those to get that license. Now, another job, since we're talking about licensing and selling investment products, something similar would be a personal financial advisor. And you actually have to go through, like we said, the different licenses that you need. You also need the education and everything behind that. But while you're the financial advisor, normally it could be personal. But it is relating to different investments, including insurance, mortgages, could be retirement, estate planning, any type of taxes and stuff like that. So just the median range of salary, this website says around 90. Just realize that there's a huge range. When you're starting out and you might not have clients, especially if you have to get your own, you're going to be on the lower end. However, if you're networking very well, or you've been in the industry, you have a bunch of clients, you'll be making easily 6 figures. And some licenses can be focused on, like there's insurance licenses, I think insurance and annuity might be the same, I'm not sure, but there's insurance, there are annuities. I'm not a personal fan of them, but do your research to see if you're interested in those. Of course, if you're into stocks or even mutual funds, and you have to sell those to people, you need that license. Switching over to more accounting based, this website says a good entry-level position would be a junior tax associate, which seems very interesting actually. So of course that's within the financial sector, and that's in like around 50,000 area. So this is going to be requiring like CPA license. Now, like entry-level job into like an accounting field, you might not need that license yet, but if you're focusing on like to be an accountant, you would have to get that license. So you can see right here the median salary is around like 70,000. You do need that bachelor's degree. Now, if you are interested in accounting, I will give a don't mind that. So I will give a shout out to another YouTuber. His name is Mike over at Money and Life TV. He is an accountant, so if you're interested in that type of field, I would definitely go over and check him out. He is awesome. I've known him for quite a while now. He's in tax season and a very busy man, but he does put out videos that you can definitely learn from as well. I'll leave his link in the description so you can check out his channel. Don't forget that. Another job opportunity would be financial auditor. So this is dealing with compliance, existing legislation, and laws. You have to go through financial statements. Again, education level is around the bachelor degree. So I just wanted to throw out a bunch of like names and positions that you could actually look for, because again, I think that's the hardest part, to find out what you even want to go down, the path that you want to follow. So now focusing more specifically on Fat Link's suggestion is more, stock market oriented or investing. Now, of course, the most known is a stockbroker. What stockbrokers do is they buy and sell securities, most likely with stocks, and they have clients. Essentially, they try to buy low and sell high. They might short a position or whatever, but that's essentially what they're doing. Very high stress, and you're trying to make money as the market moves. Now, that's a stockbroker, and because you'll be selling these stocks, of course you're going to need that license to sell stocks and investments. Now, something similar to a stock market broker would be a proprietary trader. I remember I had an interview with them actually years ago. It interested me, and essentially it's also known as a day trader, but you're under a firm and you're using their money. So it is essentially an entry-level job because they train you how they look for certain stocks. They could search for like pattern recognition, different strategies that they do. So both of these positions, a broker or a proprietary trader or day trader, they could be very prosperous. You can make a lot of money with them. You just have to be good at it because it's essentially purely performance based. If you're not performing up to their standards, or if you're losing money, if you're losing the firm's money, they're not going to like that. And so it's definitely a risky business and career, because not only you could not make a lot, but you could essentially get fired fairly quickly. So quick background from the interview that I tried to remember for the proprietary trader is, I believe they start you out on like a very small salary, and essentially after a while you will build up to, there might be a base salary, but after that is essentially commission. So if you make a bunch of money in the stock of whatever you trade, then you make that a piece of that money. High stress, and tons of hours have to be put into it, because it's not only like constantly looking at the market and looking at charts, seeing what goes up, what goes down, but it's also before and after the market's closed, because you have to research the news and what's actually going on. You got to look at earnings, and you got to be on top of your stuff. That could easily be like 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. So every person is different. Some people might love that, but a lot of people probably don't, because essentially you're trading a lot of your time and your life for that career. It can be beneficial greatly, but you definitely have to understand your priorities and what you want in life. You're not going to have much of it when you're in that career, because you're just going to be purely focused on that. It's not a bad thing, but that work-life balance that some people look for is non-existent. Now, if you want to get into the big bucks, another career path would be a hedge fund manager. Anything involving hedge fund is where like the big money is, because that's where millionaires invest. Don't get mixed up as like, it doesn't, just because millionaires invest in it doesn't make it a good investment. Warren Buffett talks about that. He put up his own money to say that an index fund actually outperforms some hedge funds. He's winning on that bet, just putting that out there. But hedge funds are great if you work for them, because the commissions are outrageous, and that's why Warren Buffett's winning his bet with index funds, because millionaires invested this, like high net worth individuals put their money into these funds. So you're dealing with a bunch of cash. Now, of course, I'm no expert with that because I am not a hedge fund manager. One famous one that you might have heard of was Jim Cramer. It just requires a lot, guys. You just can't like start that. You do have to have a track record. You do have to have that performance and build your reputation so you could actually get to that level. So another option, instead of like forming a hedge fund, would be to work inside of a hedge fund. Maybe get some type of entry-level job that will probably require a good amount of education and experience. I do know that Connecticut is actually a large hedge fund state. There are probably others out there, but I do know a bunch are there. Tax reasons. And I guess the other option, essentially for every person out there, you could be just a simple investor. You can invest in individual stocks on the side or mutual funds or anything. You don't have to make it your primary career. You could still make money off it on the side, especially for the long term with your retirement accounts, with your individual accounts or whatever. So with the long term, you could definitely be beneficial, even if this isn't your industry or your field. And I'll leave you guys off with what I do now. It's a fund administrator. So we handle mutual funds and we kind of just service them and report everything like that with different financial statements. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going into much of it, but just to get like the position out there, because it does exist. So those are definitely the main ones, guys. There are others out there. Again, there are links in the description for the websites that I used. I do love the website Bureau of Labor Statistics, because you can sort jobs through industry, and then you could actually see what's out there. You could see what they do, how to become that, the job outlook, their salaries, and so on. So if you guys have any extras, if you have any ideas of where you could get started, I know people are definitely looking for entry-level jobs. That's essentially the hardest part. It's just to get your foot in there, because when you do, you start getting experience and then you can move up the ladder. You gotta find the ladder first. So let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see ya in the next one.